Have you ever done the math on retirement and felt your stomach drop? No matter how hard you work, retirement can seem almost impossible to reach. What decides whether you retire sooner or work years longer than you planned isn't always your income. A lot of it is the small money habits that happen on autopilot. They feel normal. And that is exactly why they can cost so much. Today, I want to show you 10 boring money habits that can help you retire sooner. They can free up more money for retirement, lower the bills you carry after you stop working, and stop one emergency from wiping out years of progress. You don't need to give up everything you enjoy. But even changing a few of these habits can make your retirement feel a little more possible. And stay to the end, because I'm going to give you one simple question to ask before almost any purchase. It tells you whether you're buying more freedom or more years at work. Let's start with the one in your driveway. You make your last car payment, and suddenly you have more money in your budget. The car is paid off, and that money is yours again. And right then, it's tempting to get a newer one, whether you really need it or not. So, you trade it in, or lease something nicer. And just like that, you've got a new monthly payment all over again. Here's what I do instead. If your car still runs fine, keep it. I know that's not exciting. But a paid-off car that works is doing its job. Take the money you used to spend on that car and put it toward retirement instead. Say it was $500 a month, and that adds up to $30,000 over 5 years, before any interest or investment growth. Now, there's an exception. If the car is unreliable or you're paying for repairs constantly, replacing it might be cheaper. That's a fair reason to buy. But if the only problem is the car feels a little boring, that's okay. A boring car with no payment is exactly what helps your retirement. The same thing happens with a raise, and that one's even easier to miss. A raise feels like a reward, and it should. The problem is how fast it disappears. You get the bump, your spending creeps up to match it, and a couple months later, it's just gone. It went into nicer groceries and a little more of everything. You never actually decided to spend it, it just got swallowed. So here's the habit that protects it. The second a raise lands, split it before you get used to the extra money. Say you're making $90,000 and you get a 4% raise. That's $3,600 more a year. Split it in half. $1,800 goes to retirement and $1,800 stays in your life right now. That works out to about $150 a month for your future. And $150 a month you actually get to enjoy today. You're not depriving yourself. You're keeping part of that raise before your everyday spending takes all of it. One honest exception. If you've got high interest debt or your emergency fund is thin, that first half might need to go there first. Raises are the money you can see coming. The next kind, you can't. And that's the kind people fumble even worse. A bonus or a tax refund is the money you can't see coming. A tax refund feels like a little win. Finally, the government is handing something back to you. A bonus feels earned, a reward for a year's hard work. Either way, it doesn't feel like your regular paycheck. It feels like yours to enjoy. The first thing most of us think is, I deserve to treat myself. And maybe you do. So you book the weekend away you've been talking about. Or you finally replace the couch. Or you take the whole family out somewhere nice. And none of it feels reckless. But the money came in once, it went out over a few good weekends, and by summer, it was gone. Here's the habit that changes that. Decide where the money goes before it lands. Maybe half of the money goes to your retirement, the rest goes to something you need. You can even keep a piece of it to enjoy, guilt-free, as long as you decide that on purpose. A $2,500 refund split down the middle is $250 toward your future, and $250 for right now. That one decision, made early, is what keeps the money from slipping away. And if that refund's already spoken for, overdue taxes, a medical bill, debt that's charging you interest, then those come first. No guilt. If you want retirement finance explained in plain English, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because the next habit is about the money you free up when a loan ends, and how fast it can disappear if you're not ready for it. You finally make that last student loan payment. And for a lot of people, that's a real achievement. Years of chipping away, finally done. It feels good. You start picturing what that extra money could do every month. For 1 month, there's real room in your budget. And then, somehow, it's gone again. Not on anything big. It just slid back into normal life. A few more dinners out. A bigger weekly shop. Nothing you'd even remember a month later. But think about what just happened. You spent years living without that money. It went straight to the loan, so it was never really yours to spend. You've already proven you can get by without it. And that's what makes this the easiest money you'll ever save. You don't have to cut anything, or even give up anything. You just keep making the payment. Only now, you make it to yourself. So the day that loan ends, Move that same amount straight into savings or retirement. The whole trick is speed. Do it that same week while you can still feel the money is there. The easiest way is to set up an automatic transfer, so the moment that money would have gone to the loan, it goes into savings instead, without you having to think about it. Waited too long, and normal life just fills the gap for you. Keep a $300 monthly payment going to your future, and over 10 years, that's $36,000, before a dollar of growth on top. One fair exception: say your loan payments were only paused for a while, and you know they're starting back up in a few months. In that case, hold the money aside so it's ready when the bill comes back, instead of locking it into long-term savings. So far, this has all been about freeing money up. The next one is about protecting it from the kind of surprise that can wreck a good plan. The setbacks that do the most damage to your retirement usually have nothing to do with the stock market. They come from a single bad month. The furnace gives out in January, your hours get cut in February, and there's no cash sitting there to absorb it. So the money comes out of an IRA, or it goes onto a credit card. And just like that, a small emergency turns into a retirement-sized one. And this isn't rare. In its latest survey, the Federal Reserve found that only 63% of adults could cover a surprise $400 expense with cash. Just 55% had enough set aside to cover 3 months of expenses. That's a lot of households sitting one repair, or one slow month, away from borrowing. So the move here is simple. Keep a small cash cushion that sits between your everyday life and your retirement accounts. Its only job is to take the hit so your retirement doesn't have to. Say you keep $3,000 in savings and a $1,200 car repair lands. It stings, sure, but it comes out of that cushion, and your future never feels it. Without it, that same repair goes on a card, or pulls money straight out of your retirement, where it does the real long-term damage. You don't need a mountain of cash sitting idle. You just need enough that an ordinary surprise stays ordinary. And if you don't have that cushion yet, build it slowly, in a separate savings account you leave alone. Even a little each month adds up, and keeping it out of your everyday checking makes it a lot harder to spend by accident. Now, from the surprises you can't control to one that's a lot harder to say no to, because this one has a face you love. This is the one habit people defend the hardest, and I understand why. Helping your kids is not the problem. For a lot of families, stepping in after a layoff or during a hard stretch is exactly the right thing to do. The problem is help that has no end date. It starts as a bridge to get them through, and over time it just becomes another line in your monthly budget. Picture Sarah, 61, helping her son after he loses his job. She sends him $800 a month, and she can afford it. But it's been 2 years now. The money still goes out every month, and to keep it up, she stopped making her own catch-up retirement contributions. That's nearly $20,000 that left her hands over those 2 years, right in the final stretch, when her own retirement needed it most. The help is real, so is the cost. The kindest way to do this is to help with a limit. You can decide on a number and a deadline, this much for this long, and still be a wonderful parent. Setting that boundary doesn't make you cold. It's how you keep from becoming the next person in the family who needs saving. Protecting your own retirement is part of protecting them too, because the day you run short is the day they have to step in for you. That same habit, spending out of love or comfort, shows up in an even bigger place, the home you live in. And right before retirement, that temptation gets especially loud. You've worked hard, you've earned a nicer place. The kitchen's looking dated, maybe a second home somewhere warm for the winters. And it's rarely just about the house itself. It's the memories tied to it, the years your family grew up there. You start picturing the holidays ahead, the whole family gathered around a bigger table, and the urge to remodel or move somewhere bigger makes complete sense. But housing is already the biggest line in almost everyone's budget, which makes it the most expensive place to spend money chasing a nicer lifestyle. Consider this. The Bureau of Labor Statistics found the average household spends $26,266 a year on housing. That's 4% of everything they spend. A full third of the budget gone to the roof over their head. When you add to that number in your last working years, you're not making a one-time choice. You're signing up for a brand new monthly bill your retirement has to carry for the rest of your life. Say Linda and Robert, both in their early 60s, want a bigger place, plus a remodel to go with it. Together, that adds $900 a month to their costs. That's $10,800 a year that can't go into savings, or toward the repairs and property taxes that come whether you plan for them or not. Now, this isn't about clinging to a house you've outgrown. Moving to a smaller, cheaper place can be one of the smartest things you do when it actually lowers your costs. And the gatherings you're picturing happen because of the people, wherever you all end up. The real question isn't whether the new place is nice enough. It's whether you're buying comfort or signing up for a bill that never ends. And housing is not the only expense that can quietly follow you into retirement. Some bills are not what you chose on purpose. They are things you signed up for once and kept paying for because they are small enough not to stand out. Maybe it is a streaming service you have not opened in months, or a meal planning app you tried once and never went back to, a premium news subscription that renews every year, extra cloud storage you no longer need, or a fitness app you downloaded and forgot. Then there are also the subscriptions that keep showing up at your door, a beauty box, monthly supplements, or an old subscribe and save order that keeps arriving even though you barely use it. None of these charges feel serious by itself. That is why they are so easy to ignore and forget. Maybe it is $12 here, $18 there, and $35 somewhere else. But put enough of them together, you could easily be paying $100 or $150 a month for things that are no longer making your life better. That is at least $1,200 to $1,800 a year wasted money for your retirement. And unlike a one-time purchase, those charges keep repeating until you stop them. So make this a boring habit. Every few months, go through your bank and credit card statements and circle every charge that repeats. Then ask yourself, did I use this in the last 3 months? Would I sign up for it again today? Is there a cheaper version, or do I not need it at all? You don't need to cancel things you genuinely use. The point is to stop paying for a version of your life that is already past. And once you have checked the bills, next come the small purchases you barely even remember making. The expenses that add up the most are the ones nobody plans. It happens at the end of a long day, when you're tired and your phone or tablet is right there next to you. One tap, and something's already on its way to your door. It never even feels like a decision. Boredom lowers the effort it takes to spend. And your phone took away every reason to slow down. Picture yourself winding down at night, scrolling a shopping app, or clicking the deals in your inbox, picking up small things that each feel harmless. And no single one is. Say it's $40 here, $30 there. But a few of those a week adds up to around $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year, gone to things you'd have a hard time even naming, while saving feels tighter than your income says it should. I'm not going to tell you to stop enjoying life. The fix is to make the easy choice the cheap one. Put one boring little step between you and the purchase. Give yourself a one-day wait on anything that isn't a real need. Or keep your card out of the room you scroll in. That small bit of friction is usually enough for the urge to pass. But the real danger isn't the small stuff you grab on a tired Tuesday. It's the big items you buy for a life that hasn't shown up yet. A lot of expensive purchases aren't for the life you're living. They're for a life you're picturing. The boat for those summers out on the water. The RV for all the open road you keep meaning to hit. The intention is real, but that future version of you doesn't always arrive. Life gets busy, plans change, and that moment keeps getting pushed down the road. The payment, though, arrives every single month, no matter what. A couple who buy a beautiful set of workout equipment, financing it at $150 a month, certain that retirement is finally when they'll get in shape. 6 months later, it's an expensive coat rack in the spare room, and that $150 is still leaving their account, right on schedule. So before any big purchase, ask yourself the plain question. Am I buying this for the Tuesday I actually live? Or for the highlight reel I keep picturing? Buy for the Tuesday. The life you already have is the one that has to get paid for. And that brings us to the single most useful question in all of these. Most of us decide on a purchase with the wrong question. Can I afford this right now? But there's one question that really decides whether you retire on time. What does this cost me every month? And for how long? Because the sticker price is the smallest part of the story. A purchase that adds a $300 monthly payment isn't a $300 decision. It's $3,600 a year, and it's $18,000 over the next 5 years, before you count a cent of interest or upkeep. But a monthly payment isn't a decision you make once. It repeats for months and years, and every one of those bills pushes your retirement a little further away. A few more weeks you have to keep working before you can finally stop. You're not just spending money today, you're sending the bill to yourself in retirement, when there's far less coming in. So what do all 10 of these really come down to? The goal was never to make your life smaller or miserable. It's to stop piling on monthly costs that make retirement harder than it has to be. Boring isn't the same as cheap, and it isn't a punishment. Boring just means no new permanent bills, and that's what buys your years back. Keep the car, split the raise, guard your cash, ask that one monthly question. Do that, and you haven't given up a thing. You've handed those years back to yourself. Freeing the money up is only half the job. The other half is putting it somewhere it can grow. And that's where the retirement accounts you're using start to matter. I've already walked through exactly which accounts to use and how in a previous video, and I'll link that video right here. So the money you just protected ends up in the best place. I'm Allison. I read the fine print so you don't have to. I'll see you in the next one.